You live in the reality that you create.
That was the universe's way of protecting me against something that wasn't my path.
But sometimes you have to look for them much harder and perceive that situation differently.
Go home and lay on the couch and don't feel bad.
If we could do more of that, both with ourselves and with other people, how much happier would our daily lives be? You're listening to the Apology Void podcast.
Today's going to be a fun topic, actually. We weren't kind of sure what we were going to talk about, but we've come up with silver linings. Silver linings. I'm not the singer, but...
Silver linings. I don't know. I could write a whole song about silver linings. You know, the things that happen to you and how you choose your response and how you choose to view things from the other side of them. All of the silver linings, which bless have I had to search for sometimes, but they're there.
Sometimes it's also very hard to find them, and it takes time to find them.
That was the other thing I was going to say is sometimes it's not immediate, but it's more of a longer term process to get to the point where you can acknowledge what those are or see what they are or even experience a positive from something. You know, some experiences that we go through are really, really gross and life altering and change everything. And it takes a solid amount of time to get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, like this isn't all bad all the time.
No, 100%. And I think we've jumped ahead, which I love, because we were also talking about silver linings before we started recording. So that makes a lot of sense to me, but let's rewind.
Rewind, take it on back.
Rewind.
Sal.
We're taking it on back. And starting with, I think, bounce off ideas, but starting with what you said, things happen in our life, changes happen. It's not always unicorns and rainbows vibes. Everybody in this world and our listeners, you and I, you go through shit, right? We all go through shit and we hide it a lot of the time, particularly women. You know, we cover it up, we move on, we move forward, we get the things done. That's okay. But I think it's just starting with saying that shit happens, but then our focus will be on the silver linings within those things. So if you are going through a bit of a rough patch, we see you, we hear you, we feel you. So just want to pull it back to that first.
I love that. I was having a really interesting conversation over the weekend. And by conversation, I mean I was leading a talk. I was giving a presentation over the weekend. But I try to be conversational when I'm presenting. I try to bring people into the talk, and so they're engaged. But one of the things I was really focused on is perception. And perception really is everything. You live the life that you perceive. You project the life that you perceive. You manifest the things that you perceive. So if you go through life feeling like every single experience is doom and gloom and awful all the time, that is the life you will have. And I've spent a lot of time really taking those experiences and not just making it unicorns and rainbows and shoving it all down, but processing the things and actually grieving in them briefly in order to then move on and find something good that can come from it. So like, it's about that perception. And I kind of made that connection in my brain as you were talking, like, oh, that also is part of it. It's a big thing.
No, 100%. And we can talk about things that, you know, there are minor things that happen every single day in which you can go, okay, pause. How can I choose to respond? Which fits into that perception of what your life is like. So if you are in the perception of, oh, doom and gloom, like you said, maybe your automatic response is, oh, of course that happens to me. Why me? Oh, God, of course, like, you know, and we do that, like, don't we? We all go, oh, of course happens to me today. But stopping yourself and going, okay, why is this happening? And or what can I see in this that is going to be a positive, or that's going to create a positive outcome, rather than feed that negative connotation of what our life looks like and then projecting more negative energy for more negative things.
Yeah.
Can also be big things. So there are things in our life experience that are very big life altering events, like you said, and that can take more time, because to find a silver lining in a life changing event, it will not happen. It will not happen the same day. It will not happen the same week. It will not happen probably for years, if ever. I'm gonna add that in. If ever, just know that the positive, the way that you respond and the way that you project out into the world can also make a difference, because it may make a difference to somebody else. For
Yeah.
example, if there's no silver lining for you, like your response and how you go about your daily life in a life altering event might change somebody else's day. So I think that's very big distinctions of I've stubbed my toe to a life altering event, each equally applicable.
Correct. Absolutely. I've got a couple examples
Love
of
it.
things that maybe could be helpful. So, January 1st, 2025, I had to leave my career as a professional musician. I had to leave what I had been doing for the past decade and something I loved so much, because my body said no more. I spent the majority of 2025 grieving, like the majority of 2025. And yeah, like I moved on in my life. I had to, continue working and doing things and make some changes. But it wasn't until the beginning of this past year when I realized what that had created space for. It wasn't until this past January, February, when I realized that I had, prior to leaving stage, talked about wanting to increase my speaking engagements and outreach and connection opportunities and like abilities to be a public speaker. And I had not had the flexibility and availability in my schedule to be able to do that at all. So, the immediate thing it allowed me was to be able to spend more time with my family and to spend more time with my niece, which was great. I was able to move, I'm able to be closer to those people. On top of that, though, a whole year later, I've realized all of the things that I wanted to create more of, I have now been given the space and ability to do so. I've allowed my body to recover and done so much internal work that I'm now at a place where I've spoken at 12 public events already this year, I think, which is wild to me. And I'm lining more up and I'm doing more of those things. So that was a massive change. That was a lot of grief, and a choice I had to make based on my health conditions. But it allowed for something so beautiful and these incredible silver linings. And I've got more examples like that. So there are so many.
Mm. And what a big, because that took a long time to see. So that's like a great example of, at the time, like in 2025 in January, you're probably like, this is the worst. Like nothing ever good is going to come of this. Like I'm destroyed, etc. Which is all applicable, by the way, all valid
Yeah.
feelings. I just want to say everything that we feel is valid. You don't need to shove down your emotions to find the silver lining. I think it's about knowing that that is coming, or an opportunity for a silver lining that you can provide is coming. And what a gift, like time with family, time with your niece, like having more time to work on yourself.
Yeah.
That's so much bigger than, not degrading your performing, by the way, not, obviously it's very important, but that's so, like, we've only got one life, right? Time is our most precious commodity, and you've gained
Yeah.
it by that massive change. So great example. I do have not a similar example, but maybe something out of your control. And I think I have spoken about this before. I remember when I applied years ago to do my PhD in psych. So did the application, whatever, got rejected. I was like, okay, that's fine. Did it the next year, got rejected. And I was just like, I think it got to the third year in a row when I was applying for my PhD, because it's very competitive here, and it's pretty much based on, like, anyway, too convoluted for this topic. But I think the third year in a row I got rejected, and I was just like, no, I cracked it, obviously, and I was just so emotional talking to my mum, and it just felt like the worst thing in the world. I was like, why me? Like, I feel like I'm a good candidate, and that's out of my control. Someone else was telling me I can't do what I want to do, right? So I was like, I couldn't understand. It wasn't until years later, I reckon like almost 10 years later, that I'd started my business. I'd sort of stepped back from work a little bit. I had more time, and we had sort of moved and done some investments and stuff. And I was like, that is why I was rejected, because if I had have got in, I would have committed to that role probably forever, for a very long time at least, because had tunnel vision to do that. But that outside influence of someone saying, no, this is not, like, you can't get in. I look back now and go, that was the universe's way of protecting me against something that wasn't my path. And it also took a little bit of like stepping back and going, okay, so think about the last 10 years, think about what's happened. So it took me that long to find a silver lining.
Yeah.
Years and years of something out of my control. So that's probably another way of looking at it, knowing that if something goes drastically wrong or something happens in your life, it may take 1 year, it may take 10 years. As I said, you may never see it, but there is one hiding. I can almost guarantee there is a silver lining hiding. And if you can take the time to look at it and find it, it'll give a lot of perspective.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that so much, because you're totally right. Like, it is something you sometimes have to look for. And what I was thinking is, I wonder if there are tips we could share for how you find that when you're really struggling. And one of the things that helps me on a daily basis with the small inconveniences, the small things that like set me off on the wrong path. Like, you get 5 minutes down the road and you realize you forgot something at home and you have to turn around and pick it up. Or you get somewhere and the thing is canceled or whatever. Like, you have your hair appointment canceled once you arrive there. Things like that. There's also the silver linings in, but sometimes you have to look for them much harder and perceive that situation differently. So one of the things I do, say if I am having to turn around and go back and get something, I say to myself, that's the universe protecting you. Maybe you missed a bad accident. Maybe this is your opportunity to grab something else. Maybe this is the universe's way of saying, hey, slow down. There's always something there. And whether you believe any of that or not, it's a great way to help your brain process something that you often view as less pleasant, such as a cancellation. If you go somewhere and something is canceled last minute, you've then gained that time to utilize a different way. And I've used that time in the past to connect with a friend or explore somewhere completely brand new. And so it's all in that shifting your mindset and your perception around a situation that can be really helpful in those maybe less extreme circumstances. You know, not the lose a job, someone dies situations, but the minor inconveniences that can stack up. Because if you're stuck in the place of, oh, I had to go home, oh, I had to do this, oh, this thing happened to me. It's a very victim mentality, and it sets you up for such negativity and such a bad mindset moving forward, when the rest of your day could be this like beautiful opportunity and you don't know what's going to happen. So that's a long rant about something small like synchronicities, but there it is.
No, but I think arguably those minor inconveniences, I'm going to say this out loud, but it's going to come across, they're almost more important. So I don't mean they're more important than great life events, because they aren't. But what I mean by that is they're more important in terms of they happen more often.
Yeah.
So they're more opportunity to change our response. So big events, yes, of course, are more important and more life altering, 100%. No doubt about it. However, those turning around, or if you're like me, you can't remember whether you turn the heater off, so you have to turn around, or cancellations, etc. They happen all the time.
Mhm.
Getting every red light when you're running late, that happens all the time, right? So it's more opportunity for us to make the changes. And I think the tips to do that is a great idea. And when you were talking about the appointment cancellation, like if you arrive at, or say if you live a bit further away and you're driving there, it gets cancelled on the way. That happened to a friend of mine last week. She had this appointment, she left her house and she got a text and the girl was like, I'm so sorry. Like I've tried to come in, but I'm just having a really bad day with something that's going on in her life. I can't make it. So she was like,
Mm.
okay, cool. That does happen to people. Rather than go, I don't know what you'd think, but I guess rather than placing the blame on that other person, because they have stuff in their life too, right? So obviously something significant was going on. She couldn't make it to the appointment, and that may happen to you. What I was thinking in that moment was, okay, maybe you could go to a coffee shop and you might meet a great person. You might engage in a conversation and make a lifelong friend. So that's the choice. As you said, go home and wallow in, oh, poor me. My appointment got cancelled. I've wasted my whole day getting ready, blah, 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 blah. Your whole thing's negative, and you're
Yeah.
setting a precedent for a response to future situations like that. Rather than go, okay, cool. So I'd allowed for an hour for this haircut or whatever it is you're doing, or this is 2 hours for this color or whatever, no, more like 5. But what can I do in that time? Can I go for a walk? All right. If I do want to go home, do I give grace to the person who's cancelled my appointment on me and say, okay, cool, obviously they've got a lot going on. It's out of my control. Sending love to them because they may need it. They're not doing it. It's their job, like in that situation, that's
Yeah.
their job. They're losing money. They're not doing it because they feel like it. They're not doing it for fun, right? So sending love to them puts you in a positive space, even if you go home and watch a movie. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're like, okay, well, I was going to use this time anyway. I may as well relax on the couch, watch a movie or binge a TV series because maybe you haven't done that because you've not been spending time with yourself, So that's also valuable. Don't see things like watching a movie and chilling as a waste of time. I do that. Disclaimer. I'm trying not to, guys. I'm getting better. But I'm saying that for me, go home and lay on the couch and don't feel bad about it. That can be your response.
I love that. I mean, little moments like that are a great opportunity to practice empathy, whether that is toward yourself or toward somebody else. Empathy and grace, the two things we need more than anything probably in this world, along with kindness, empathy, grace, and kindness. Like if we could do more of that, both with ourselves and with other people, how much happier would our daily lives be? Like how much happier would our daily lives be overall?
Actually, though.
Yeah. You were mentioning how the little things might be more important. And I think that's totally true because most of our life is spent in the mundane. Most every day is made up with little moment after little moment after little moment after little moment. And really, it is a habit that you have to practice of, do I choose to flip this into something positive or do I choose to stay in this negative headspace? The things that are good that happen in your life, imagine how much more elevated and wonderful you would experience them if you were practiced in that headspace already. Like, imagine how much more joy you could experience if every day you're looking for those moments. Like, this is a real silly thing. It happened today. I was feeling ultra anxious because something wasn't working out. When that happens to me, I choose to, rather than let it get to me, rather than sit in that place of anxiety, I choose to go for a walk and clear my head. I process that emotion and I go and I ground. I literally ground in the earth and I walk and I take deep breaths. So, one, that was a great strategy for me to turn things around, get some fresh air, get in my steps. Every frustration is an opportunity for me to change my mindset. But on that walk, I found a stray dog. Stray dog, middle of the street, car coming down the road. And that could have been like a really bad situation. And I could have been upset that, like, oh, this is interrupting my walk. Now, what am I going to do with this dog? What is going to happen? I might have a meeting that I need to go to. Now I'm running late. You can go through all of those things, or you can turn it into, this is an opportunity for me to connect with my neighbors. So I stopped the oncoming car, grabbed this itty bitty little chihuahua who was precious, and thought to myself, okay, who have I seen with this and whose door can I go knock on who I think is home right now? You should have seen the look on those people's faces when I handed them their dog back. They're like, Daisy, where have you been? I know you like to roam. And I was like, well, Daisy was in the middle of the road, so here you go. Anyway, but it could have been like something that I saw as this really big inconvenience in my day. But I'm just really glad I had the chance to connect with them and make a beautiful moment with my neighbors. So again, mindset, flip it, reverse it.
And how important, I just want to highlight that not only, so you've obviously done a lot of work on this, as have I, and I'm not saying this is easy to do for someone who's perhaps listening and gravitates towards a negative response. So know that it takes work. You're not going to be able to like be a superhuman positive thinker in 5 minutes, but you were able to. Okay, so you were feeling anxious, negative event, choose to go for a walk, made it into a positive. While you were out on your walk, another negative event. So that would have been, and then you made that into a positive. So not, because you could have easily gone, oh, for goodness sake, I was anxious, had to go for a walk, and of course this happens while I'm on my walk, so I feel anxious. Why do I even bother? And go straight home. You know, that would have been so easy. I'm just saying, because that is a bit more natural, I will say. Why does this always happen to me? There we go again. I'm out on my walk to help my anxiety, and I get a bloody dog. Like, so no, you were able to do it twice in a short space of time, which takes a lot of work. So first of all, well done, because silver linings all around, people, very fitting if that happened today. I love that. We didn't even bring that up earlier when we were talking about the topic. Like, that's like the epitome of finding this.
That was such a minute thing. You don't know this, but where I used to live, stray dogs found me like on a monthly basis. Stray dogs found me. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened, but I ended up with dog after dog after dog after dog. And I learned all of these resources to reunite them with their owner. Now, one of the stray dogs that I ended up finding ended up being my permanent placement because 10,000 people shared the post of this missing dog. 10,000 and not a single bite. So I ended up with the dog and it was a beautiful experience. But again, it's one of those things where like you have to look at it as an opportunity. And I was able to collect all of these resources and come with so many amazing stories. So finding a dog here, I feel like was just another sign that I'm home. As weird as that sounds, it's like, oh, you're home. The dogs feel comfortable with you again.
Here we go with the stray dogs again. That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
I've spoken about this book before, but I'm going to bring it up again because in the Success Principles, Jack Canfield's book, he does touch on this. So it's not silver linings that he touches on, but he talks about the event and the event plus the response equals your outcome. And I guess that's a way of summing up what we're kind of talking about, because the event will happen, your response to the event will happen, and that's the outcome that you get. And that's really important, that fits succinctly. So the outcome can be very positive based on your response. The outcome can be very negative based on your response. And that will perpetuate because of habits. as we know, habits are very important. Don't know if actually, have we done a topic on habits? Just side note.
If we
Can't
did, it
remember
was like
now.
30
A
episodes
long
ago.
time ago.
So, I mean,
We
we
should
could bring it
revisit
back,
that.
Sal.
Habits.
We
Just
talked about
bring that
rituals
back.
recently, but
Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, habits. So, because if you automatically go to that negative, that will become your habit, your automatic response, because our nervous system is very powerful. So, if you
mhm.
train it to go into a negative, it will. And your body, you know, those physical reactions. So, just
Yes.
to quickly touch on this before we finish up, but you know, those physical reactions of when you have the negative response to an event, you know, like it's icky, it's yuck. When you flip it and you're trying to think of the positives and you do create a positive, that's a nice feeling. You can feel it, like the physiology
Physically.
of it. Yeah,
Yes.
it
Yes.
changes our body. So
Absolutely.
that's a good sign, I guess, for some people if they're sort of learning how to do this. If you're instantly going to that negative mindset, maybe you're not outwardly thinking it, but your subconscious goes there, you'll feel it in your body. And if you
Yeah.
start to feel it in your body, like, okay, this is my sign that I'm going towards a negative response to the event, that could be your pause. Or even if it starts with just acknowledging it, like going, okay, I automatically went negative on the response. I need to start thinking about positive. And that may take a long time, even just in the acknowledgement phase. I still do it, guys. Like, also just saying, I'm not out here creating love with every single thing that happens. Like, something happens and I'm like, yep, yep.
I am sure that my partner, who is literally sitting on the couch right now, who can hear all of this, would say to me, "You're not always perfect at this." And I had so many moments throughout the rest of today where it wasn't perfect. Like, I wasn't necessarily good at seeing the positives. And when something happened last week, I experienced a lot of negative emotions, but slept on it. And the next morning, I woke up and saw all the silver linings and was like, oh,
Mm,
this is actually a really good thing for these specific reasons. And it was, again, it was something totally outside my control. But what you were saying, Sal, is so incredibly important, where we have to like reprogram our brains. And in reprogramming our brains, we're reprogramming our bodies, because it
mm,
is all connected. You are creating a physiologic response with your mental response and your emotional response. Your nervous system, when you are emotionally heightened, your nervous system responds to that. And you are literally building a negative feedback loop the more you play into that. There's
mm,
so many things we could talk about on this topic, like law of attraction. You
mhm,
you reflect and get back what you put out. And so if you want people to think of you positively, you have to exude that. I mean, there's so many different parts and pieces that go into this, and it is a struggle and it is a practice. And it's not to say like bury it all down and slap on a smile. It's not that. It's experience the emotion and then choose what you want your reality to be from there. Because your
mhm.
reality is what you create. You live in the reality that you create every single day.
100%. And I think to sum it up again, because I keep summing up, I keep thinking of more things, that we touched on two topics, I guess, in a way.
Mm.
And one of them is the law of attraction. So the energy that we put out, perceive love, receive love, positivity, receive positivity. And on that note, I think we should delve further into that. So table that for next week,
Oh,
next
for sure.
fortnight. And then also timing. So know that while you may not see the silver lining straight away, have the, I guess, openness to know that that may come. And if it never comes, it may be hiding. So
Mm.
important.
Oof. It's a good note to end on.
I'm
Playing it.
refraining. I'm pulling back.
Oof.
Okay, I'm stopping
Yes,
speaking
please.
because we could talk about this forever.
There'll be more. Yeah. So until then, go live positively and see some silver linings, man.
And we want to hear about your silver linings. Message us.
Yes, please. We'll chat
Thanks,
soon.
guys. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.